Hello and welcome to episode 7 of the Digital Discipleship Podcast. I'm Henry and I'm so grateful to host you and to have you step over into my brain. I often tell people who ask me how I came up with ideas or what I was thinking about when I did a certain thing. I tell them somewhat jokingly but serious, like, listen, my brain is a dangerous place to be, man. You'll mess around and get lost and twisted up in there. Well, listen, you in it. Y'all are in it as you're listening to the Digital Discipleship Podcast. You get a chance to just be with me as I dump and share so many different things that have just been rattling in my brain for years and for decades. And now I get to share it so that leaders all over the world and all across the country can be blessed by it. And so today we're getting ready to hop into another episode. We're in the theme of help this month. Because we're really talking about, man, just being honest about the fact in the areas where I really need some help as a leader. And so today we're talking about help. Our live stream is bad. So let's just go ahead and be honest. Let's go ahead and deal with the elephant in the room. A lot of us have live streams that scream, we just had to figure this out. Like, come on, let's just be honest. A lot of our live streams, we were not focused on it. We were not thinking about it. We didn't have the teams or the staff to run it. A bunch of churches didn't have people who were in that younger generation who was all into technology. And so, listen, we just had to get this thing figured out. And so a bunch of us have live streams that say, you know what, I had to get this figured out. Look, ain't no shame in that. That was the truth for our church. We weren't into live streaming really at all prior to the pandemic. And then when churches got shut down, we had to figure something out quickly. And thankfully, we were able to do that. And so we're just being honest today, man. Today is honesty hour. Like, no need to be embarrassed, to be ashamed. Sometimes our live streams can struggle, right? Because we're just trying to create a side option, because really what we want is people to come to church. And what's challenging us now is that we're realizing that some of them not coming back. Some of the people are not coming back to church as we knew it. And so we've got to figure out, do we just punt and give up on those people? Or do we turn our live stream into a viable option where we can do it? Well, I know one of the barriers two of the barriers that most churches face is not having the team or the personnel who can do it and do it well. And then number two, not having the budget to spend all these thousands and thousands of dollars on this live stream. Well, here's what I'm going to tell you. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars to get a decent live stream. So I'm going to help you out, and I'm just going to give you some ideas. I'm going to give you 10 ideas to improve your live stream. Some of them will be practical. Some of them will be things around your live stream. But I'm going to help you out with that. All right. So for those of you who are new to the Digital Discipleship Podcast or new to me, my name is Henry Talbert. I'm the founder of Simple Systems Consulting, and I like to think of myself as a systems architect. I help organizations build the systems that they need to grow, whether that's grow spiritually, numerically, or financially. I build the systems to help you grow. Within the blueprint for our company, a part of what we have and a part of how we approach it is that we believe that there are 10 systems that a healthy church needs to have. And so we work with churches and organizations to help them build those 10 systems. And so that's who I am. That's who we are. And if you want to get to know us more, you can always go and click through our website, simplesystems.cc, or you can just click the link in the bio or in the bottom of this description to plug in and get a discovery call where we can get to know each other and I can hear about what the Lord is doing through you and your organization. All right. So today we're going to be talking about this live stream thing. Well, let me give you a couple of stats. Let me give you a couple of details real quick to help you. Right. And so let's look at, why do we need to shift and really be concerned about this digital focus? Well, the big thing is that the landscape is changing, right? Really. So let's look at this. In 2015, $2.2 billion worth of tithing donations were made online. Oh my goodness. I got this data from DAcast, which is a platform that does live streaming and things of that nature. But I'm sharing it with you. So look at this. They said $2.2 billion worth of tithing donations were made in 2015. Like, that's a lot. And that's pre-pandemic. I can almost guarantee you those numbers are way higher right now, right? So it's showing you why We need to lean into digital because other people, that's where regular people are. Life Church, which is, they've been on the front end of technology. They're actually in the metaverse right now. Like I saw an article this week where they had service in the metaverse and they had to open up a second service because the metaverse was full of people. Like, hear me what I'm saying. When I say metaverse, I'm talking about virtual reality, people wearing headsets, earphones on a computer with their little avatar man who's walking into a digital plate. Like that's where they are. But look at this. They streamed to 4.7 million people the first week COVID went live. People ran to digital and they were one of the best to do it. And so they were positioned well. Look at this. 33% of parishioners report that they found their current church online. See, we've got to have a digital focus because a lot of our people find us online before they ever come visit us in person. And so you want to embrace that. You want to lean into that and be aware that that's what people are doing so that you have your presence. What you do online needs to reflect really who you are in person, all right? Champion Center online donations increased, this is one church, by 70% when they began live streaming. Like, think about that. Like, their online donations increased by 70%. And we talk about this. We've talked about this in so many other blogs. You need to have at least 4 ways that people can give, and 2 to 3 of those need to be digital. Whether it's text giving, online giving, PayPal, Cash App, Venmo, all those different things, because everybody uses something different. And if you're not using the platform that they use, then you might be missing an opportunity. Last one, 47% of people do not abandon in-person service for alternatives. So that's helpful. You know, some people aren't going to come. Look at this one stat though. 44% of people report they'd rather worship and pray in private. This is the bottom line, is that digital things are a real option. People now have the option to go to school online. They now have the option to work from home online. You best believe there are going to be people who are exploring the option of going to church online. And we've got to wrestle with that. You know, I'm a traditionalist in a lot of ways. And so a part of me really wants to be angry at this option of doing church online because I don't think you could do church that way. But I'm telling you, man, it is a real possibility. It is a real thing that people are wrestling through. And it's something that we've got to figure out. We've got to figure out how we're going to respond to it and how we're going to deal with it. And so that's why I'm going to give you 10 ideas to help you improve your live stream. And these are going to be, I hope, really, really, really practical, nothing too deep, but something really practical to help you take some real next steps. All right. And so before we do that, let me give you this real quick. Here's the opportunity you have. Number one, you can remind your church of the big idea of Scripture. You know, equipping people to go out and to reach other people. That's the big idea of Scripture, is making disciples of all nations. You know, a disciple being made and then becoming a disciple maker. That's the big idea. And so if you leverage technology correctly, that becomes another way that your congregation can be a part of the work that the Lord is doing, that you can draw them into it and say, hey, look, you can be a part of this too. Another thing is you can educate people who may not have access. You know, there are some leaders who are leaders because of necessity. Like they literally just had to lead the church because they needed somebody and they had to do it. And maybe even they weren't ready. And so maybe some of what you share in the digital space could be used to not just equip the people in your church, but to provide ministry opportunity for people who don't have access to your church. Somebody who's living in the middle of the woods somewhere with a satellite dish for internet. And there isn't a church close by that they can be a part of. And so maybe they're going, you know what, let me watch yours. You know, we're seeing a really large number of people from other countries who are watching American church live streams. And they are gleaning from the information and the content and the messages that are being presented. So that's a big deal. And then finally, you can reach a much broader audience. You know, I heard this stat at a conference recently. They said that your real potential is, well, however many people you're seeing in person, your goal for the online space should be 4 times that. To see 4 times as many people, because that's the number of people that are out there just kind of floating and who the average are reaching when it comes to the gospel. And so think about that. You can have a small church in person and have a major operation going online simply because you may be the kind of church or you may be the kind of leader that people just simply connect to and it fits. And so there are people all across the world who are looking for somebody who's willing to lead them and help them grow spiritually. And you could be that person. And so I think it's worth exploring how you step into that. All right. So now let's look at these 10 ideas. Like I said, they're going to be insanely practical, but I think it's going to be a really beneficial thing for you. All right. So idea number one is to upgrade your lighting. Can I tell you that a good camera with bad lighting becomes a bad camera? Most people don't know this. I didn't know this at first, but you can have a really great camera, but if the lens of a camera literally works by exposing certain parts of that camera to light. And the more light that it sees, the more detail it can pull out, and it can interpret what it's looking at. And so when you don't have good lighting for the camera, then the camera really, really struggles. And so I would encourage you to think about upgrading your lighting, right? So I'll give you something really practical that we did. When I came on staff and I came on as lead pastor of our current church, our stage had all around it this amber lighting, right? We had light bulbs, but they were all that amber color, almost like that warm, almost like a yellowish orange kind of color. And so that amber lighting made our footage and our video look really, really grainy. And so I had our maintenance guy replace all of our amber lighting with daylight, with really, really bright white light. And when he did that, it made a tremendous difference. And we didn't go with all the par cans and the big fancy lights that you see people get. We just upgraded the lighting right there in front of the stage. And man, it made a huge difference because we've got recessed lighting, track lighting, all those things. And we just put daylight bulbs in there. It made a huge difference. And so if you just want your picture, you want to upgrade the quality of your picture a bit, start with just upgrading your lighting. Change out the light bulbs. If you need to explore bringing in some extra light, then do that. Explore that, walk through that, go through that, whatever it needs to be done. But upgrade your lighting because your lighting can make a huge, huge, huge difference in the presentation of your church. All right. Number two, revisit your audio setup. OMG. We're going to sit right here for a second. All right. Because one of my pet peeves, and if you had to do this because it was the best you could do, listen, I got grace for you. I love you. I appreciate you. But I'm telling you this truth because I love you and I appreciate you. You cannot have a great live stream with the audio that's coming straight to your phone, right? Because you can hear echoes. You can hear Miss Mary over here popping gum. You can hear the baby over here crying. And then when it's time for you to preach, I can barely hear you, right? So what you want to do is you want to revisit your audio setup. And here's what I mean when I say that, is that you want to get you a device. And when you get you a device, I like to use this little device called an iRig, is what it's called, iRig 2. And you can find it on Amazon for like $99. They might be more expensive right now, but there are variations of it. There are cheap versions that work on batteries. There are big versions that, all this kind of stuff. But you want to get you an iRig 2. And what happens is that when you get that little device, it's just like this big. It's a real small device. When you get that little device, what you're going to do is you're going to plug it up into your soundboard. And it's going to take the sound coming out of the soundboard. It's going to go into that iRig and come out, and it's going to plug into your phone. And so now what's going to happen is the same sound that they're mixing on the audio board is the same sound that you'll get on the live stream. And I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference. We can hear you clearly. We can hear you nice and cleanly, and it makes for a much better experience. It's just like if you're watching TV and a channel is staticky, what do? You change the channel. Because it's frustrating to sit there and try to get what you're trying to get through all the static. Well, you need to revisit your audio setup so that people can at least get clear audio, right? Really, if you can give people a clear picture and clear audio, man, you have done an amazing job of just taking it to the next level. And so you want to revisit your audio setup. I'm going to put in the comments of this video some links to some of the products that I'm talking about. So you can just click them and it'll take you straight to Amazon and go and get it. But you get that little device. Most of them come with a video tutorial that tells your sound person how to hook it up, how to organize it. And I'm telling you, it makes a world of difference. But you gotta revisit your audio setup, all right? You gotta revisit your audio setup. Come on, you know how it is. You can be in church sometime, and we all have, those one or two praise team members that we gotta really monitor on the volume, right? We gotta really watch out, watch how that goes. Well, the same is true online. And so you wanna make sure that you got the right sound so you can manage that and manage it well, all right? So number three, third idea to take your live stream to the next level is to take an online campus approach. take an online campus approach. This is something that I'm actually working on right now in our church. See, in our context, most of our congregation is back in person and has been for quite a while. And so we didn't go as aggressively into focusing in on just making sure we had to have all this online stuff straight. We had a stream set up, but we're shifting to this, right? And so what I'm saying here is I'm comparing an online service to an online campus. And those two things are different. An online service says, we're going to have church, and through this camera, we're going to let you watch us have church. An online campus says that we are inviting you to come in and be a part of our church through another version of what we do in person. So the things that we do in person, we're thinking about. Come on, man. Amber, alert me. And so what we're saying is, what we're thinking about is that everything we do in person, we figure out how we come over to the other side and do it online. And so to take the online campus approach, one of the primary things that you need is that you need to designate a person who's going to be responsible for the online campus. And this can be really, really simple. It can be as simple as making sure that you have somebody who's responding to people as they watch the live stream, who's giving them prompts. You say, hey, it's time to give in church. They say, hey, it's time to give online. You say, somebody say amen in person. They say, okay, it's time to say amen online. You say, if you want to come to Jesus, come on down or fill out the connection card. They say, hey, if you want to come to Jesus, click this link right here. Like, you need somebody who is echoing and mirroring what's happening in person into the online space. That is very, very vital. You've got to make sure that you have, if you take that approach, I'm telling you, people's engagement changes. People's engagement goes to the next level because they realize they're a part of something and they're not just watching, but that they're there. And we're going to talk more about this because here's the other thing that you can do. Idea number 4, talk to the camera. Talk to the camera. If you want to improve the quality of the live stream, one of the things you need is people engaging with you. You need them talking to you. You need them going back and forth with you. You need them being engaged with what's happening with you. You need all those different things. And so since you need all those different things, one of the ways that you do that is you model it. And so first you start talking to them. Talk to the camera. Every once in a while, you got to look at the camera and say, come on, somebody ought to type in the chat right now, I believe God, right? And you've got to engage with them because as you engage with them, you give them permission to engage with you. You give them permission to say, all right, I'm coming in, I'm being active participant, I'm being engaged. Because if not, what happened and what we see is happening is that people are starting to put live stream services on in the background. They're starting to put them in the background. And what I mean by the background is that they're putting on the online service while they're cooking breakfast or while they're doing something different. They're almost treating it like podcasts now. And so one of the ways you want to push through that is you want to invite them to engage. You want to invite them to respond. You want to invite them to talk to you and to talk with you. All right. Number 5, offer a live prayer option. Oh man, this is really good. So we're getting ready. One of the things that we're doing is that I want us to be in a position where we can own all of the content that we create, right? And I want you to know this, that you do not own social media. Some of us already know this. If you've ever had your account shut down or somebody try to hack your account or something like that, you learn really quickly that you don't own that stuff. If out of the kindness of their heart, they don't decide to give you your account back, then you just lost it and it's gone. End of story. Nothing else to talk about. And so one of the things that we want to do, we want to own our account. So what we're doing is we're shifting to a platform, and I believe we're going to use Life Church's platform online for online streaming. And what we're going to do is we're going to put that on our website. So now we can live stream and push as many people as we can to come to our website where we can engage with them better, collect their information. And so the good thing about using the platform that we're moving to is that is the church online platform is that it gives us the option to offer live prayer in the chat. And so what it does is right on the bottom, it'll put a button at the bottom of our live stream that says need prayer. People click that button and it takes them into a chat room where they can talk back and forth with somebody who's sitting there ready to pray with them. And that option is super, super powerful. It's a super, super practical and useful tool that people can use to really, really make a difference. The other thing that you could do is that you could offer a live virtual prayer room. And this is one of the trainings that's included in our coaching program. But we offer you a live virtual training on this so that you can basically set up a live video call so that people can pray face to face with somebody at the end of the message. And it's a really, really cool thing. People really engage in it. People really connect with it. It's just a really, really powerful thing that we use that helps us make a huge difference in the lives of other people. All right. Let's keep going. Next, number 6, use a streaming program. Use a streaming program. Oh my goodness. This is another big one. Is that so many churches, because we had to jump into it, jumped into the rawest, quickest way to get into live streaming. And for most people, that was Facebook Live. And so most people just jump straight into Facebook Live. This is what we're going to use to do our live stream. Well, what many may not know is that there are several programs out there, and they all come with some kind of minimal cost. But there are programs out there that will help you actually produce your stream. See, the issue with streaming directly to Facebook from your phone or from whatever device you have is that all you send is a raw video, especially if you don't have a setup where you've got some kind of production software like Wirecast or something like that. You're just sending it the raw product out. Well, with a live streaming program, you can do a couple of things. Number one, you can take one live stream and send it to multiple different places. So at one time, you can be recording the stream, doing the live stream. It can be going to your website, to YouTube, to your Facebook page, to the pastor's Facebook page, to all these places at once. So you're getting all these different eyes on what you're doing at one time because you're using a program. Another thing that a live streaming program will help you do, depending on the one that you choose, is that you can actually have a really nice production that doesn't cost you a whole lot of money. You can have a multi-camera setup that doesn't cost you a lot of money. When we first jumped into the live streaming game, we used this program called Switcher Studio. And we love Switcher Studio because with Switcher Studio, it uses an iPad as your production software or as your production hub. And then it uses iPhones as your cameras. iPhones or iPads as your cameras. And so basically we position 2 iPhones around the church or up toward the stage. And from the back of the room, right next to the soundboard, somebody can control and switch back and forth between those scriptures. You can also create lower thirds where your name comes up at the bottom, where you can bring your text and your title up. You can put scriptures there. I mean, it gives you all kinds of unlimited potential, and people will think it's really, really fancy, but it's a program that only costs you maybe $30 a month. And it's just one person sitting back there with an iPad. The most I've ever done is that I set once for something we were doing, we were testing this out. And I think we may have had a 3-camera setup and I managed it from my iPad while I taught the content at a conference. So I'm literally teaching and switching through my iPad and nobody knows it because it's just that simple. And so explore some different streaming programs. Again, look in the show notes down below and I'll give you a couple of links to a couple of things, but try out some different things. One of the things that we'll talk about coming up here in a second is going to go along with that is a program that we switched to and something that we're using. All right. And which leads us to idea number 7, invest in good cameras. Invest in good cameras. Now, if you're on a super, super tight budget, then I suggest that you try Switcher Studio. Switcher Studio, like I said, is maybe $35 a month. And with that $35 a month, Ecamm is another program that's similar. But with that $35 a month, it just uses iPhones. And so literally you can have some team members, some people who you know going to be at church every Sunday. You can put the program on their phone. They get to church, you take their phone, set it up, and that's it. It's that simple. And iPhone cameras are best of the best, top of the line. But if you want something that's more sturdy, we wanted to get away from using people's phones. We did that for a while. We adjusted, then we got a camera system, is that we moved over and we tried Mevo. And so that's what we're currently using. We're using Mevo. And Mevo, we chose Mevo because they come, they basically have it already built out as a package. And so they have cameras. We ordered 3 of those cameras. Plus, we got an iPad to control them all and things of that nature. And they have their own app. It's a really simple setup. And so now we take our cameras, we run them through a different program that we use. And now we have a switcher, one person sitting in the back, kind of controlling all 3 cameras. And the thing that we love about Mevo, for example, is that it can turn any one camera shot into 9 camera shots. And so basically, if you take this picture that you're looking at of me and you draw lines across the screen and make it into 9 separate squares, what Mevo does is that it turns each of those squares into a shot that you can switch to, right? And it's just a really, really cool feature that allows you to look like you have way more going on than you actually do. And so it gives you a ton of production value without all of the costs and without all of the personnel needed. That was super important for us. We needed a live stream setup that only required one person, and we found it. And so with Switcher Studio or Mevo or something of that sort, one person can run the entire show, and we use stationary cameras. But because with Switcher Studio and Mevo, you can zoom in and out, you can give the impression that somebody's zooming in and somebody's moving and all those kind of things. And it's a really cool feature, all right? That's number 7. Idea number 8. Now let's get a little bit more. We're still dealing with the live stream, but now we're going to deal with some of the things around the live stream, right? Because in order for a live stream to be effective to a degree, a social media profile or page or wherever you're streaming from needs to be effective. So since I know most people are streaming on Facebook, your Facebook page needs to be effective at what it does. And so one of the things that you can do to help that is create diverse content. Create different kinds of content that can keep your page alive all throughout the week, right? Your page shouldn't just come alive for Sunday morning when the service pops up, or for Saturday night to remind people to come, or for Wednesday right before Bible study. Like if you want your page to grow and to really be at the top of the algorithm for more people to see it, you've got to keep punching out content. That's why some of the people with the most popular pages you see, they always have stuff coming out because the algorithm rewards people who are constantly posting valuable content. And so you want to make sure that you're doing that you're creating diverse content. So try different stuff, man. Have videos that you're posting, have text posts, have graphics that you're posting. You can post sermon clips. You can post quotes from the sermon. You can post videos from people in the church. You can post videos from members of small group leaders, small group leaders. You can just everything, but just post different kinds of content that keeps getting engagement so you can keep your page moving up the top of the list. All right. Number 9, launch digital small groups. Oh my goodness, launch some digital small groups. You want your live stream to be better? Then one of the ways you do that is by growing the number of people that you're connecting with. One of the ways you can do that is by launching digital small groups. If you can get a group of people getting together via a web call or an online video conference once a week or every other week, they can do that from all around the world. So you can have somebody in one part of the country who's a part of a small group, but they're growing and they're learning. And so now, even on Sunday, because they're part of the small group, they're part of the church. And so when your live stream is going live, they're another person who's sharing your live stream in their area. So if your church is in Texas and you've got somebody in your small group from Florida, when they share it and all of their friends are from Florida, now they're exposing you to an entire different group of people, all because you've expanded what you offer. And so it could be digital small groups, it could be digital or online Sunday school, whatever you decide to do. Online Bible study is another option, all those things, but just find a way to keep on engaging people in relationships in the digital space. All right. Last one, number 10, offer a digital membership course. Oh, I'm going to be a bit biased here because This is the primary thing that we started off doing as a company. And when I tell you it has blessed so many churches and so many different people, we've got to be creeping up on helping churches bring 5,000 people into our online systems. Like, and so I'm just telling you, man, like having an online digital membership course makes all the difference because it gives people online the same experience as it is given the people in person. They can't necessarily come and take an online membership class, but they can become a functional member of the church by coming through a digital process. And let me tell you, I am starting to believe more and more that this is possible. I'm telling you, I am. I'm believing more and more this is possible. Because, see, when you do this, when you think about stuff like this, you can't think about change just from the lens of where you currently sit, right? I can't think about digital ministry only from the lens of people who could be in church and decided not to come. That's one part of it. And that part is concerning to me. The other part I have to think about was during the pandemic in that season,